Hi, this is the walkthrough of the Melanie template homepage. And what we'll do is go from top to bottom, and I'll show you some of the elements and ways to edit within Squarespace. Maybe show you how I might make some changes using an example of a mock therapist. So the first place when you click into your website, this is where Squarespace will take you. And to edit a specific page, you'll go under Pages, and the default will be the home page, but if for some reason it's not, you can go ahead and click on that. Now, to edit that page and any other page, you click Edit in the upper left-hand corner. And now we've gone into the editor. And I'm going to get myself out of the way here and make it a little bit smaller so it's easier to see what's happening on the screen. Cool. So maybe first thing we want to change is the title. Who is this therapy for? And I'll use the example, I like therapy for new moms. But other ways you could do that is you could keep therapy for the type of folks that you treat, make it a population, or maybe just an overarching statement like therapy for getting back to the best you, whatever feels right for you or your practice. So for this new moms example, go ahead, we click in, and to change the text, we hit this pencil for edit, and that's going to let us type in there. So I'm going to say therapy for new moms. You can see here it's made it smaller. So the way to change that and to change your sizes is to go into here. See paragraph 2. We actually want this to be our heading. And Google, for SEO purposes, likes there to only be one H1 heading per page. So while this will correspond to the sizes of the font, you do want to be mindful of how you deploy heading. Only one H1, H2, and 3 headings will be headings for your different sections. And then in paragraphs, paragraph 1, 2, 3, those sizes really are just sizes. So there's no hierarchy of the paragraph 1, 2, 3 like we do have with heading H1, H2, H3. So let's say that looks a little off-center to us. What you can do is move this down, perhaps. And another feature they have in here is to fill up the whole box. So now that text fills up the box, and you'll see you can also kind of like slide this down, and dynamically it will change its size versus going onto different lines. So let's say we like that layout, therapy for new moms, like this, and now we've got some dead space. I'm going to go ahead and perhaps pull this up. To do that, click and drag, so we select, and then you'll move that all the way up. One thing I want you to be mindful of is you see these rectangles. You don't want your rectangles to crash. On different size screens, that's when text will overlap. So if we have something like this, we'll always want to make sure we like zip it up to be as small as possible. Cool. Presume this is not you. You're not the model who is a stand-in for Melanie B. So to change a photo, go ahead, and you click on it. Same edit pencil, which is going to be our friend here. Edit, and then you would replace. In order to do that, you want to upload a file, a photo of you, and then go ahead from there to make some changes. Let's also say this element here in the background, you don't like it, it's not for you. Ways we could edit that, and this is an image, so you can't edit the color directly. But if you wanted to, you can make it a little bit smaller, so that maybe only shows up over here in this way, if that's better, or you can go ahead and delete it altogether. Cool. All right, now sliding down, let's say you didn't kind of like the roundedness of this template. So in order to do that, you would change, go into edit section, and these are our dividers at the bottom. Right now we kind of have this shape. You could turn the divider off and just make it flat, a straight line, or you have some other options here as well. Kind of go like this, or I also sometimes like to use these triangles to help lead a reader's eye down. But I have like a follow along. So that one's for you, and there's more settings in here. So if you wanted to Make it go a little bit deeper. You could change small, medium, large. Width settings will kind of make these more squiggly or just straight, and then flip if you wanted to move one that is facing to the top, to the bottom, and vice versa. All right. Now we've hit another photo. We know how to edit those, but you'll see this has some rounded elements. If we wanted to change that, we're going to click edit here again, and this time we're going to go into design. We've already shown how to replace or swap out a photo. So we'll go into design, and now what is rounded is the corner radius. So if you wanted to just have those be squared off, it would be 0. If you wanted them to be super round, do 90. Play around with that. If you wanted a different shape, click into shape. By default, it's going to give you a circle, but there are a few more in here. The ones I like to stick with are really basic, just the circle, this one as well, and then there's also a keyhole that can sometimes be nice depending on your design. The rest I find just feel a little too playful, perhaps, for a therapist website. All right, so let's say you just wanted to keep it square. Go ahead and fill, and we would do like a 0 there. Cool. Now, each of these buttons leads to your contact page. If you want to change where that's going, for example, if you didn't want to say to meet with me, but you want to go to like your About Me page, for example, same edit here. Text could be About Me. We would change this link to be About Me. And then there we are. By default, it always makes these as small as possible. I like to just pull them down. Go ahead it that way. All right, continuing to move down the page, we've hit our first accordion. I like to use this build as a way to convey a lot of information, but not overwhelm a reader. Eyes get tired if they see walls of text, which kind of just encourages people to scroll past. But things like images, design elements like the swiggle we have here, as well as an accordion, will help to break that up and keep the reader interested and spend more time on the site, which ends up resulting usually in people filling out the form most frequently. So on the accordion, to change that, to make any updates, a good friend, the edit pencil. Now content is going to be what you have here. Design is going to be the way that it presents. Starting with content. Since this is a therapist for new moms, we would maybe we would click in if she doesn't treat anxiety, but perhaps she treats perinatal. You see that changes the title, corresponds to our headline, and then the description will be the text in there. And we could talk about my perinatal ... You would fill that in. This Learn More button is another way to link to another page. So instead of just telling people, hey, we do perinatal therapy, I would recommend leading them to that specific page about perinatal therapy on the website. Edit that the same way, clicking in on it and edit, and then you would add your URL to whatever that link is. So I won't go through them all to update them for this mock, but that's how you edit the ones that are there. If you wanted to add a new specialty, let's say you've got more than 3, easy enough, add item, that new item is there. And the last thing here, if you wanted to change the order of these and say that new item should go first, you'll see this these 6 dots right here. Click and drag that up, and now the new item is at the top. For design, click into there. Things we can do here. Going into the title and changing these, which make them larger. Again, I would stay away from H1, as Google likes to see only one H1 per page. In alignment, kind of move these around. I prefer left. I just think it's cleanest for the reader, but it's up to you. Same thing with description. This is really just going to correspond to the size of the text in there. in alignment, placement, and those things as well. I have by default expanding the first item. I think that just helps a reader to understand what it is, but you can close that, so it now just presents as the box with none of the extra text. Dividers, those are things like the lines. Icon here, I like arrow, just sort of says, hey, I think there's more, it just conveys that a little bit better, but other folks like the plus sign, and then I think size and thickness you can play around with. Background, if you wanted to, instead of just have it being the white to present the same, turn that on and off. Let me get my face out of there. Color, so we wanted it, ooh, that's not very legible, but you can play around with those things as well. And stroke is kind of like an outline for it. So if you wanted to have it be in its own color box. Throughout the Melanie, there are kind of these squiggles. That's a design element, kind of matching the branding. But if it's not right for your branding, you can always get rid of it with this delete button right here. And let's say you wanted a line, but you didn't want that squiggle per se. What you would do there is you would add a block, and in here we would say a line. And now we have a line that's right there, and we can pull that line over. These line colors, unfortunately, are not editable in the lines themselves. But what you can do is go to Edit Section, Colors, and now this is going to change the color of everything. So what Squarespace gives you is a couple of defaults. These are editable for you. You go back in the instruction guide, it talks about changing the colors per design block. Changing those are universal, so it will change everything that is marked as lightest 1 or lightest 2 across the website. I want to just say lightest 1, see how that looks. Here you go, it gives us more of the black and white. It changes that line color. Go ahead and play around and see like what works best for you. Now with some of these things, they are defaults. Let's say we wanted to keep that lightest 1. With the text at least, you can often go in, double click on it. This toolbar comes up, and to change the color, see this right here. That'd be something like orange, or maybe we want to give it that deeper purple, or black. Things like the accordions, those are set also at the block level. So if we go into design here, you'll see we can't change the colors of the title, but things that are still changeable would be like the background color, or some of those other elements like strokes, stroke colors, and things like that. All right, so we keep going down the page. We've gotten to kind of the About Me section, or the first shortened About Me of the page. I always say to include these in multiple places, because as I've done this more and more, what we're really marketing is the therapist as much, if not more, than the therapy itself. So we've gone through how to change each of these things that we see in front of us right here. But really quickly, if I want to change the photo, click, hit that pencil, change around here. If you wanted to change the headline, go ahead and click in and begin typing. Same thing for the subhead, and then same thing for the body text. You'll notice right here I have this as bold. We already know how to change that too. It's in that toolbar right up here with bold, italics, and the colors. Here's another link. This time it looks a little bit different. Change in, we click, we edit if we want to change the link or what it says. And you also have a couple different default button appearances. So clicking into one, and each block has three different button designs. So primary, set like that. Secondary, on this has more of that outline, and then tertiary, that's softer, just kind of underlined version. The way I think about these is each one is a stronger call to action. So the primary button is the most kind of attention grabbing, secondary a little bit less so, and then tertiary kind of the quietest of the three, just with that underline. Getting into the therapy with me section, This is where I would suggest talking about how you show up in the room and the way someone might experience you in therapy with you. Only thing new here, we are using the bullets. So clicking into there, if you wanted to turn one off, that would do it bullet by bullet. If you want to do them all, you could click and drag, turn off, or if in this case you want to use numbers, that's right there to the right-hand side. Sliding down, all right, we've got a couple shapes and elements here. It's another headline. Shapes we can change the color of. So we would click onto that, edit, color here, it's the same. We get the defaults that are on the palette. But if you wanted something different, totally, you could always go into custom anytime you see that. Let's say, I think it clashes a little bit, but for this example, let's go with blue. Bring this up, you can move around and sort of select one that feels right, feels best. Okay, and we're almost done on this page. This block, we have some text, both as the quote and as the attributing piece here. With quotes, I recommend them, but I know in this industry it's a little bit harder to get quotes sometimes. So a nice to have, not a need to have. The one thing that's unique about this block is we now have a photo as the background. So if you wanted to change that to, I'll show you how to change it to a different photo, or how to make it just a color. So we click into that, edit section this time, background, and you can see it's an image. In this image, we could just delete it, and now we have a color. And we could choose one of the colors in the palette that is there by default. Or if you want to do a different image, let's go to add an image. Here you can upload a file, select something from library, or browse stock images. Let's browse stock images because we haven't done that together yet. So click into browse. These all are free. They're from Unsplash. By default, they have a number of them up here, but I'll show you how to search. So if you want to search for, let's say a forest is more the vibe you're going for. Search, and do want to be mindful of finding one that's not too busy, because that makes the text sometimes compete with the background. So like this might be a little too busy for us. This one might be okay. Yeah, let's do this one. This one's probably too dark, a little too spooky. Let's go ahead and do this. I'm going to say add image. See how we go. It's thinking. Okay, great. Is it here? Yes. Okay, now this is a little hard to read in my opinion. And we also have what's called an overlay opacity, which is like a white shadow that sometimes dials up or down the intensity of a photo. So if you wanted to always change this, so we go all the way up, it's hardly there. If we go all the way down, it's the full bleed. So I think that doesn't look too bad. But if you wanted to change those colors, click into it, photos. That's even easier to read. Let's go there and let's make that match. Amazing. Great. We're almost done here. We are now getting into these squiggles. Let's say for you, you want more of those straight lines. This again is under the divider. So edit section, divider, we could turn it off. Or if you want to just like really tone it down, we just do like a straight line. So you like that straight line, but it's a little too thick. You make that thickness really thin, and there we go. And if you want to even make it quieter, change this, which is sort of its intensity. It's really just kind of like a slow marker there. All right, so that's the home page. And now for the next video, I'm going to go break it down specialty for each of the specialty pages. What are the elements there and kind of who would use each one depending on what you're trying to convey.